Hi everyone, I'm Matthew Gantner, the CEO and founder of Altum Strategy Group. I'm joined today by Andy Pojuner, who is the Managing Director of our Intelligence, Data, and Technology practice. As you may have seen in a prior video, I talked a little bit about application sprawl, and today I'd like to talk to Andy about some of the tools that are available to help companies really understand what applications are in their environment, from the small note-taking like applications all the way to some of the applications that are running in different cloud services around the world. So with that, Andy, I'd love to hear your thoughts on if there's any tool that can even help companies solve this problem.
I'm not going to name a specific tool, but there are what I'll call two different classes. One is identifying network traffic so that you can see kind of which users are accessing which SaaS solutions, and figure out if maybe somebody's using something that's not authorized, or in some situations if they're going to use a tool and or a SaaS solution that was accidentally whitelisted in order to potentially even exfiltrate data. But then also at the same time, it's great to kind of use either your security tooling or your device management tooling to begin to understand and get visibility into what applications are loaded onto those end points, so that you can get an understanding of kind of what's potentially some areas where team members could be exfiltrating data.
Yeah, it's a good point, because there's really the risk of internal as well as external. I guess for companies that have crown jewels, right, one of the things that is hard to prevent, if you will, is the exfiltration of data based on screen scraping. Do you have any tips, tricks for people out there that are thinking about that or considering that? Again, these are foundational kind of elements to good data security, but love to get your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to what I talked about before, which is one, understanding kind of what your traffic flows are. So what tools or SaaS providers or solutions your team members are actually using, and then and that is primarily from a network access perspective. And secondarily, to get an understanding, either using kind of your device management tooling and so forth, on what applications and systems have been loaded onto those endpoint devices, and then what have they also been potentially accessing as well too. So you can kind of do a correlation there in order to figure out if there is something that is running and that users so happen to access some specialty database or some sort of file and so forth. Maybe that's something that you should be looking into.
So is it fair to summarize it really that companies should really focus on user access fundamentally, as well as controlling the network traffic, and where does that enter your environment versus where does that exit your environment? Ultimately, who, again, going back to user access, who's actually able to access that information?
And also your endpoint devices as well too. Get an understanding kind of what that ecosystem is like, and which users have access to which data.
Got it.
Put it another way.
Awesome. Any other tips and tricks for folks today before we wrap up today's video?
No, I think that's it.
Great. Thank you all. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.